Shalom.
Welcome, shalom to the Holy Talk podcast. It's been a while, Rabbi Tuly. Shalom, how you doing?
I'm good. Back in my office, back in Israel, and
Back in Israel, back in office. Give us an update because you had a crazy month this month. You came to the States. I got this chance to see you. A lot of people didn't know that we took a month off, but let us know how that happened. You came and then you went back.
yeah, I got to go visit Columbus, my friends and family in Columbus, and we had a great time together talking about how we have to build on these Zooms and we have to build on these Torah teachings, and so hopefully we're going to roll out some new ideas, new features. But when you come back to Israel, so first of all, the planes were empty, the airports were empty, which is sad. It was sad to see all the, in Erie. But when you get back to Israel, they require you to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. So just got out of quarantine, and thank God, when I left Israel, the corona was really high. Now it's under control here, and unfortunately, it seems like the opposite in the States, right, Danny?
It is going nuts over here. We are in Columbus are having record numbers like the 8,000, 7,000s on a daily basis. The hospitals are being overflowing here. It's just overflowing with patients going in. I'm hearing from people on the ground, some registers that are registered people, and some nurses that beds are not even available in Columbus, that people are waiting in hallways for 24 hours. It's been that kind of stuff. We have this week coming up. Governor DeWine is going to make a decision what to close down. So he warned us last week that some things are going to be closing. So we know that's coming, and I think everybody's preparing. The schools are preparing, restaurants are preparing, bars are. Everybody's preparing. Everybody's kind of like in this uncertain, like angst moment. But the trust is in the Lord. That these COVID cases are going to go hopefully the other direction. And this has happened not only in Columbus, it's happened all throughout the United States. Sure. I think only 2 states are not in high red alert right now. So it's crazy.
Wow. Well, Israel is also is processing the election in the United States. Israel is, I think on the one hand, very grateful to President Trump for all that he did for Israel, and at the same time looking to work with the new administration. And so there's some of the uncertainty that is even more pronounced in the United States is also kind of affecting Israel at this time as well. What's it like in Columbus?
The climate is depending who you're talking to, right? So if you think about how the country was split, right? It's almost like 50-50 down the middle, right? So you had, I think, 73 million votes for one and 78 million votes for the other. And so it's pretty almost an even keel. And it's been like that for years, right? So this is not, I think many people take that as a surprise, but no, we've been split down the middle. So it depending who you talk to, because one neighbor on one side of your house could be for the other neighbor. And I think for me, I've always taken Rabbi Tuly the point of view of I'm just going to trust in him, and whatever he decides, you know what I mean? Whoever's going to be over it is going to be over it. And I'm not, playing the politics. And I think I've been sounding an alarm, especially for believers and especially for people of faith, our Jewish brethren, our Christian brothers. I've been saying the same thing to everybody. Listen, just our hope is not in the temple things, and there's going to be all kind of governors and rulers. And Israel knows this. I've quoted the children of Israel a lot the last 2 weeks, because I think the story of Israel is so important for us as believers to understand that they've been through every scenario, right? So every scenario you can throw at me, I can show you that Israel's been under, right? So they've been under a good leader, they've been under a bad leader, right? And so I just say, just learn from the children of Israel that their hearts and their eyes were always looking upon Hashem, and God was the major subject, right? It's like I can complain on one side or the other, or I can just look up and say, God, you have it under control. I'm going to trust in you. And so that's been the thing, for me, it's all depending who you talk to, because every day is someone different, and they have their own belief in it. And so I try to then steer the conversation towards let's look up and let's not get caught up in the weeds of, you know, who's right, who's wrong, who's cheating, who's not. Let's forget all that, and let's just, whoever happens, happens, and we're just going to trust in God in it.
Yeah, well, like you said, Israel has been through it all, and the Bible describes everything. You know, the Bible obviously has all aspects of human emotion and experience. And there's a saying, especially when we're reading Genesis, there's like this rabbinic saying that's in Hebrew, "Ma'aseh avot siman banim," which means that the actions of the fathers is a paradigm for the children. And
I'm going to write that down. The actions of the father.
yeah, is I mean, like a paradigm for the children.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that you know, so there's a great example in Genesis 25, which we just read this past week. So
Yes.
you have the Abraham and Sarah, and she dies. She dies, and then there is like the story about Isaac and how he has to go and get married, and he marries Rebecca. But then Abraham, of course, had two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. And so Ishmael kind of disappears because of this conflict between Sarah and Hagar, or Hagar maybe. But she's banished. Ishmael is, you know, goes off and has his own life in a different area, and he kind of disappears until the end of Abraham's life in chapter 25, verse 8. It says that Abraham breathed his last, dying at a good ripe old age, old and contented, and he was gathered to his kin, to his people. His sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar, the Hittite, facing Mamre, and in the same field that Abraham had bought, and buried his wife Sarah there. And we see a reappearance of Ishmael. Not only that he is working with Isaac to bury their father. And so that has been identified and interpreted as a paradigm for in the future also. We believe that there might be conflict, but there at the end of the day will be a great unity between the children of Abraham through Isaac and the children of Abraham through Ishmael, namely the Jews and the Muslims, which is such a hopeful message in today's climate in America and in the Middle East, that, you know, no matter what's going on and how on the verge of a civil war, or even when there's, you know, in Israel, there's like actual bloodshed between the children of Abraham, the children of Isaac, the children of Ishmael. Nevertheless, there's this hope, at least in the Jewish tradition. I don't know how it plays out in Islam, that we do believe, we hope that there will be peace, there will be resolution and unity between the Jewish people, the children of Isaac, and the Muslims. And you're seeing, you know, glimpses of that. There's a lot of hope that the peace with the UAE and some of the Gulf states could be the interpretation and fulfillment of this prophecy. But it's something that I think is one of those beautiful examples where the actions of the fathers is a paradigm for the children.
One of my favorite scriptures, Rabbi, truly you couldn't be, man, I'm just so, all I hear is there's hope and unity, right? There's hope and there's going to be unity, right? There's hope and unity. And one of my favorite scriptures in the Torah is what you just read, because it does give us all hope. Like, we're all going to be, I think when we see ourselves as humans, children of God, all of us, you and I were talking before, how we're made in the image of God, right? And so when we can see that every one of us are made in the image of God, I think that gives you hope that all of us are made in his image, then we all are made to fellowship with him and fellowship with one another, you know, right? Now, you know, the different religions and the different enemy attacks that the enemy brings us, you know what I mean, to separate us, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to separate, he wants to destroy, right? But if we can see that unity and hope, there's going to be hope not only for the United States. There's hope for the world. Like when I look at that, it's hope for the world, because I believe once that happens, you know what I mean, and totally, then we can all just love and live in unity, right? And just love one another and see the greatness in one another instead of seeing what we think are not the good parts of one another, right? We can see the great and the goodness that, hey, Rabbi Tuly, Danny Ortiz, you guys are made in the image of God, and that makes you close. That makes you one. That makes you the same, come from the same place, and that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, because it's one of my favorite scriptures, and I know we talked about it, but I love it because it brings so much hope for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we hope to get back on track, right?
Yes,
And
yes. So for those who are listening, we'll be back on track.
back on track. I guess we're going to go. We wanted to always be a week ahead, so to speak, where we're talking about the upcoming Torah portion as opposed to the previous Torah portion. So
the next one will be on Vegas.
Vayetze.
Did I say that? Vayetze. See, I'm gonna try, Rabbi Tuly. Vayetze will be the next one that we're studying, right?
Yeah, Genesis chapter 28. Yeah.
So those who are listening, be reading Genesis chapter 28 through Genesis chapter 32. And then we're gonna talk about that next week, and we'll have fun. And so, Rabbi Tuly, so the folks that so that they can reach you, give them your email address, and I'll give them mine when you get done.
All right, I'm Rabbi Tuly at Israel365.com.
And you can reach us at holytalkpodcast@gmail.com. I know some of you were looking for, I did receive some emails of people saying, hey, where you guys are at? We are back, we're here. We look forward to just going into the book of Genesis with you. And please send us a request, and really we want to hear from you. So thank you, Rabbi Tuly. I love you. Thank God for you, and looking forward to next week.
Thanks, Danny. Shalom.